life, it's fragile, and in the blink of an eye,
you never know.
You never know. So speaking of legacy, what do you hope that your legacy is going to be?
There's part of me that I will be able to leave this earth, knowing and people knowing that I was a good person.
We have an update on the drowning death of Malcolm-Jamal Warner. Now, according to ABC7, they stated that Malcolm-Jamal Warner had drowned while he was on vacation in Costa Rica. Now, the article goes on to say that Warner had drowned off the coast of Costa Rica on Sunday.
Something you long believed to be true but realized wasn't.
Well, as one of the main opponents of the Illuminati, I always wanted to know what information they had that we didn't.
They were tired of me fighting with the writers.
So Katt Williams has been sounding the alarm for years. If you don't play by Hollywood's rules, especially as a black man, you get pushed straight to the sidelines. And when you take a look at the late Malcolm-Jamal Warner's career, man, it all starts to line up real clear. Malcolm never chased clout, never played the fool, and definitely refused roles that made black men look like jokes. He straight up stayed away from that whole wear a dress, act goofy nonsense. And because of that, they iced him out. Not because he lacked talent, nah, the man had serious skills. But he didn't bow down to the game. He moved on his own terms, and Hollywood wasn't having it. Now, suddenly that he's gone, everybody want to call him a legend and say he was so underrated. Really? Where was all that energy when the man was alive and grinding? Where was the love when he was out here doing real work, refusing to sell out just to stay relevant? This ain't about wild conspiracies, it's about patterns, and Katt Williams been pointing them out for years. He's been warning folks how this industry turns its back on those who won't play puppet. So now, let's get into it. What exactly has Katt been exposing? What did Malcolm really stand for? And why is all the praise only pouring in after his death?
Because I've spent, so much of the early part of my life listening to being celebrated on one hand, but paying way too much attention to the naysay.
If for some reason you can't find a reason to smile, then that's probably the best time to be the reason for somebody else to smile.
Malcolm-Jamal Warner, best known as Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show, tragically passed away on July 20th, 2025. He was on a family vacation in Limon, Costa Rica, swimming with his 8-year-old daughter when they were swept into a deadly rip current. That beach, it's got a reputation for strong currents and barely any lifeguards around. And on that day, no lifeguards at all. Reports say resources were pulled and shifted to other beaches after some recent emergencies.
These are the first things we saw when we pulled up to the beach. Signs in Spanish and English warning people about potentially hazardous conditions. This sign even giving a roadmap for how to escape a rip current.
Surfers nearby spotted Malcolm and his daughter fighting for their lives in the water. Pure panic. One surfer dove straight in and managed to pull the little girl to safety, while another went after Malcolm. But by the time emergency crews showed up, it was too late. They tried everything, but Malcolm couldn't be revived. Cause of death? Asphyxia from drowning. The brave man who tried to save him rushed to the hospital in critical condition. Later, the autopsy confirmed it. Malcolm's death was a heartbreaking accident.
Rican Beach, where officials say a dangerous rip current swept away Malcolm-Jamal Warner, the Cosby Show star, drowning in secluded paradise on Sunday.
What makes that beach so treacherous?
It's similar to other beaches where there are strong rip currents that are deceiving.
Mike Geist helps run a volunteer lifeguard organization here. He says while no lifeguards were on duty that day, Geist's friend, who happens to be a trained lifeguard, was there to surf and discovered Warner unresponsive in the water.
The first thing that they do is they bring him to the surface and give the emergency respirations.
Right there in the
water on the surfboard. And when he didn't respond to that, my friend rapidly took him into the beach and they immediately began CPR.
These are the first things we saw when we pulled up to the beach. Signs in Spanish and English warning people about potentially hazardous conditions. This sign even giving a roadmap for how to escape a rip current.
What made this loss hit so deep is that Malcolm wasn't just another Hollywood name. He was the rare one who stayed solid from day one. He never spiraled, never sold out, never embarrassed himself for the cameras. While other child stars crashed out, Malcolm kept his soul intact. He built his legacy brick by brick, a self-made multi-millionaire, Emmy-nominated actor, Grammy-winning musician, poet, director, and social activist. That's a stacked resume, and he earned every bit of it. On top of all that, he was happily married, never divorced, no drama. He was a devoted father and never had any mess outside his marriage.
So even before conception, we were very clear we were having a girl. And I knew that I needed a girl first to kind of ease me into it, because I have a pretty good idea of what kind of father I would be. So I needed a girl to kind of, slow me down and warm, soften me up, if you will. So for me, raising my daughter, I came into fatherhood already with a certain maturity, and certain understanding of male-female dynamics. And with a girl, all of that starts with the father. So I've always, since I literally pulled her out of my wife.
A man with discipline, values, and class in a game that doesn't reward any of that. Ask anyone who ever worked with him. They loved him. He had that calm, grounded energy. The kind of man that walks into a room and doesn't need to raise his voice to be respected. But then, boom, he's gone. Just like that, in a freak accident, at 54 years old, in perfect health, while vibing with his family in literal paradise. If there's one sad part to Malcolm's story, it's just that it ended too soon. But let's be real, he lived it right and he lived it full. Still, we gotta talk about how Hollywood completely ghosted him while he was alive. Katt Williams been telling us for years how the industry turns its back on the real ones. Malcolm didn't fall off, he stepped off. He turned down the circus. After The Cosby Show, he could have gone full Hollywood, cheesy sitcoms, corny slapstick roles, but he wasn't about that. Malcolm didn't chase clout. He moved with purpose. He kept it low-key and real, turning down every role that made black men look like jokes or cartoons. No dresses, no clown suits, no playing dumb just to get a check. He wanted to stand for something solid, something powerful, and that's exactly where Katt Williams fits in. Katt's been yelling this truth for years. In interviews, podcasts, even his stand-up, he's been calling out how the industry tries to box in black entertainers. Katt's been loud about it. They want you to be the character, not a real person. Want to make it big? You gotta play the game. Loud voices, wild wigs, fat suits, buffoonery, it's all part of that formula.
Of us make choices. I think it's not a biggest choice for others. I'm saying at the end of the day, Kevin doesn't have to worry about what people are going to say about him wearing a dress because of the long line of dress wearing people before him. So now we have Big Mama's house 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. I've never seen Madea in a pantsuit. I think she wears dresses. So now I'm saying, why are we picking on poor little Kevin Hart? Because it was his turn next. Some of us are against the Illuminati, and we are against the Illuminati at our own detriment. When people are against the Illuminati, then they get punched in the face all the time. The press hates them, and nobody likes them. End quote.
We all love Dave Chappelle.
Exactly. Dave Chappelle has never been a part of the Illuminati. They don't want him or me or people like us.
And when Katt said no thanks to all that, they slapped him with every label in the book. Crazy, unreliable, hard to work with.
Has never been a person that has been parodied 9 times on Saturday Night Live and yet never been invited other than me. I, at this point, take it as a badge of honor that they don't fuck with me. A lot of times when people are doing an impression of you, they're really showing you how they feel about you. You know what I mean? So for Saturday Night Live to have an impression of me and have a woman do that means they think I'm a bitch. And I understand that that's what they're saying when they do that. I understand how the game goes, and I understand that if you love me, I know why you do. And if you don't with me, I understand.
Sound familiar? Malcolm didn't fit their mold either. He had real talent, discipline, brains, but he wouldn't tap dance for the spotlight. And because he wasn't down to act a fool for the camera, they pushed him to the edge. But guess what? He didn't care. Hollywood wasn't feeding him. He was eating just fine without it. Malcolm even started his own podcast called Not All Hood, where he straight up criticized how the media tries to lump all black folks into one tired stereotype. He spoke on it loud and clear. Hollywood didn't want real representation. They wanted control.
For the title is combating the narrative of black life, black culture that the media focuses on. And
that we're all one thing.
Yeah, and the whole concept is, we're not all hood. The black community is not
Instead of selling out, Malcolm took a different route. He picked roles with meaning. He produced and starred in plays, indie films, and documentaries focused on black history, education, and justice. He was about purpose, not profit. He didn't need Hollywood's approval. He had his own mission. Back in 2021, Malcolm dropped a powerful op-ed for the Television Academy, and he didn't hold back. He straight up said that the people who control how black folks are seen on TV are mostly white. White network execs, white writers, white producers, white directors, they're the gatekeepers of black images in entertainment. And even when black creatives are allowed a little input, it's usually just for show. He said it himself. Those gates might open slightly now and then, but they never come off the hinges. He broke down how even when black characters are shown with better jobs or status, the same old stereotypes still linger, just dressed up in suits this time. And it wasn't just TV he called out. Malcolm also went in on today's rap and hip-hop culture. He didn't like how the music had been hijacked by toxic messages. He criticized the misogyny and fake tough guy energy, and he pushed hard for healing and accountability in the community.
There should be a moratorium on both of those words in hip-hop because it's low-lying fruit, it's so easy, everybody fucking does it, to the point that it's corny. Like there are MCs who I love, who I cannot listen to anymore because I love J. Cole, but I had to stop listening to J. Cole because I got tired of hearing nigga and bitch
as much
every 2 sentences, because he's proven himself to be such a incredible lyricist
that you think it's just too low-hanging fruit for him to use those words.
I feel like,
and just in case you think he was playing it safe, nah. When that Kendrick versus Drake beef went viral last year, Malcolm spoke up. While everyone else was hyped over diss tracks and gossip, Malcolm saw the bigger picture. He said it loud. Hip-hop only seems to go viral when it's feeding negativity. So when Katt Williams talks about how the industry only lifts you up when it can control your image, that's exactly what Malcolm was pushing back against.
This Kendrick and Drake beat, which, they talk about how much they hate each other and give all these references to violence and that sort of stuff. Yeah. Do you think, even though we enjoy those songs and they're bops, do you think that has a detrimental impact upon the culture ultimately?
Ultimately, yes. It's been normalized for us to call ourselves the N-word, right? And we like to talk about how we've taken the power of that word back. But I'm of the school of thought. If I'm trying to speak love and upliftment to my brother, why am I going to borrow a word from people who use the word because they hate me? But we get caught up in, we're turning the N-word into a positive. But our music is not reflecting positivity, love, and upliftment of our culture. And we're at a point now where so much of especially our music, so much of our black music, when you strip away the music and just listen to the lyrics, so much of our black music is really anti-black.
Oh, you think so?
When you think about it, you almost cannot have hip-hop without talking about drugs, using the N-word, and murking somebody. Right. Or calling a female, a bitch or a hoe.
He wanted to show black men as smart, complex, and real, not caricatures or punchlines. But people kept expecting him to stay frozen in time as that teen heartthrob from The Cosby Show or jump into silly sidekick roles. And Malcolm said no thanks to all of it. Sure, turning down those roles meant missing out on big checks and louder fame. But for him, it was about respect. It was about legacy. Meanwhile, other black actors were blowing up in the same era by doing the exact opposite. Some leaned hard into stereotypes, played the game, chased the bag, and yeah, some of them thrived. But that path, it was never Malcolm's.
How people feel about the ritual. It's about does following the ritual work? Yeah. And so you can fool yourself into thinking there isn't one, but the evidence will be clear. So like when I be like, oh, these guys are wearing dresses. Everybody's like, oh, he keeps talking about people wearing dresses. No, it's not.
That is a weird thing.
It's not like that. Look at it from a different way. Look at it. Show me one person that ever wore a dress in Hollywood unsuccessfully.
Malcolm stayed in his lane, and yeah, it came with a price. In a few interviews, he even dropped hints that folks on his own team were telling him he was too serious, not marketable enough. Translation: too black, too smart, too real. So what did they do? They stopped calling. And that matches exactly what Katt Williams has been saying for years. If you don't act the fool or play into the humiliation circus, they don't just blacklist you, they erase you. But now that Malcolm's gone, suddenly Hollywood can't stop talking about him. All of a sudden, it's tributes, social media eulogies, glowing articles, and folks calling him a legend, a pioneer. Really? Where was all that love when the man was still alive and breathing? Let's keep it 100. Malcolm didn't chase clout. He didn't sell out or play into the usual Hollywood traps. And because of that, the big platforms barely touched him. Award shows overlooked him. Major press outlets stayed silent. But now streaming services are name-dropping Malcolm in connection to lost projects. Networks are hyping up tribute specials. Celebs are posting deep captions and throwback photos like they were always there. Just like that, he's been rebranded into a safe, black icon, one everyone can post about without backlash. But this isn't new, it's classic industry playbook. They don't celebrate you for being principled when you're still here. They wait till you can't speak back, then flip your image into content they can monetize, for clicks, for awards, for woke branding. Katt Williams called this exact thing out years ago. He said the system only praises black excellence when it fits their script, when the person is either controlled or no longer around to check them. So the real question is, are these tributes true love or just another round of Hollywood cleanup? Because let's be real, Malcolm's refusal to play the game didn't make him a legend in their eyes. It made him a problem. And now that he's not here, he's suddenly everyone's hero. And here's what makes it even more wild. Some of the same people posting tributes now are the ones who wouldn't touch Malcolm with a 10-foot pole when he was alive. Studios that passed on his pitches, actors who ghosted him when he went indie, execs who said he was too deep or too niche. Now they're out here acting like they were fans from day one. The fakery is real. You can't ignore someone for decades and then try to rewrite history just because it's trending, but that's what Hollywood does. They remix reality and package it as legacy. It's not about truth, it's about optics. It's about staying on the right side of the headlines. Malcolm's passing gave them an excuse to finally use his name without having to deal with the fact that he called out everything they stood for. And don't think this is just about Malcolm. This is a pattern. How many other artists got pushed out, disrespected, or labeled difficult just for speaking up or refusing to be a puppet? Katt Williams ain't lying. This game is rigged. And the moment you don't play along, they act like you never existed until you're no longer around to check them. Malcolm didn't play Hollywood's game. He chose dignity over deals, legacy over likes. But now, they're trying to flip the script and turn his story into a feel-good moment. It's fake love dressed up as respect. And you know what's even worse? The industry will keep doing this unless more people speak up, unless more folks call out the double standards, the selective memory, the fake wokeness that only shows up when it's safe and profitable. Malcolm-Jamal Warner didn't get his flowers while he was here, and now that he's gone, they're trying to build a garden off his name. Malcolm-Jamal Warner wasn't just another celebrity, he was one of one. In a town that praises chaos, clout chasing, and fake smiles, Malcolm chose something way different. He stayed grounded, he spoke the truth, and he moved with real purpose in a system that rewards the exact opposite. That's what made him a target. That's why so many ignored him until it was too late. His death wasn't just a tragic accident, it was a wake-up call, a reminder of how rare it is to see someone in Hollywood not sell out, someone who didn't fake it for fame, someone who put morals over money and still found a way to succeed on his terms. He should have been celebrated while he was here, not after the fact when it's convenient for PR. But what do you think? Was Malcolm blackballed for not playing along, for not entertaining the system? Why does it always take someone dying before the industry starts handing out fake flowers? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm reading everything. And if you felt this deep like I did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, because trust me, we've got more heat coming your way. Celebrity drama, real talk, and the stories they don't want you to hear. Make sure you don't miss what's next. Click on the next video popping